All right, we are live yet again. It is Thursday, 7 p.m., time for another session of Soul Therapy Live with Harleen Bagga. We do this every 7 p.m. On Thursday. I am a multidisciplinary psychotherapist, a positive psychologist. I use techniques like CBT, NLP, mindfulness, life coaching, and basic meditation and counseling for my treatments. I am the founder of Soul Therapy, and we're doing these sessions as part of community service through Soul Therapy. Today's questions are very, very interesting. We would be talking about a little bit of parenting, relationship advice, as well as general well being. We have about 6 questions lined up. I hope you find them interesting. If you do see benefit in any of the questions, if you feel it is worth your time and there is some learning in it, do go ahead and share the same, because sharing is how we would make the community a better place. So do go ahead and share. Leave me your feedback, because feedback and sharing is how we can actually grow and build the community together. My first question today is, hi, my name is Chhaya. I have 3 kids. I live in a happy and loving family, but I feel that my second child is becoming distant. I feel whatever I do is not enough. I question myself. What's going on? So there is multiple things going on here. This will be answered like a parenting question. So thank you so much for writing in. So Chhaya, thank you so much for writing in. There is a phenomenon in the world of psychology which was initially introduced by Adler, and it's called the middle child syndrome. So based on the very little that you've told me, let me tell you what my where I'm extracting the facts from. The fact that you have 3 kids, that is premise 1. The second premise is you have a happy and loving family, which means that there is love and memories and happiness and joy in your family. The third is you are talking to me about your second child becoming distant. And your question is that whatever you do is not enough for that child. And this is making you question yourself, and you're wondering what's going on. So what is the middle child syndrome? See, the oldest child is a firstborn. And by default, the first child becomes more authoritarian. The first child gets a lot more love, a lot more respect, and the child has a lot more influence. We begin to expect a lot more from the first child. So the first child, unfortunately or fortunately, grows faster. And via the fact that they grow faster, they become more responsible, and they are able to perhaps deal with responsibility and have a sense of authority. They have an aura of authority, right? So that is the first child. The third child, the last child that you're talking to me about, Chhaya, is the child who's the baby of the house. That child is going to be pampered and cajoled because it's the youngest sibling. So while the parents expect the oldest child to be responsible, and you treat the oldest child with respect, responsibility, and you perhaps show a little bit of favoritism to the oldest child because the oldest child is rising to the responsibility and expectations that you have, the younger child is being pampered because really there is no expectation. The expectation of the youngest child is just to be cute and provide happiness and that sense of freedom and happiness in the house. What happens to the middle child? the middle child becomes troubled. The middle child forms issues many often at times, right? Because the middle child does not fit in with the responsibility umbrella that the parents have created for the oldest child. The middle child cannot act spoiled and pampered because there is a younger child below him. So the middle child feels rattled. The middle child feels insecure. The middle child feels uh, a lot of trouble fitting in. So, when the middle child tries to appear to be the older sibling, where the younger child is concerned, if if you the parent um, uh, corrects the middle child as saying, no, you don't have to do that, don't correct the younger one, it's not your job, you are adding to the dilemma and confusion of that middle born. If your child is becoming distant, Chhaya, I urge you to look within you and see if somewhere how you're treating the middle child or how you're treating your older sibling is affecting his personality. The things that you do need to watch out is personality, right? One is middle child have personalities where two things, right? Either they are over pleasing, they don't have the courage or the authority to stand up for themselves. So they are just about pleasing other people. It's always about saying yes. If that is one extreme, and you don't want your own child, to be a yes man. The second type is when your child uh, begins to throw tantrums. Why? To get attention. Because your attention is again being split between your oldest child, who is the responsible one, and the youngest child. So, what happens to the middle born? The middle born over time develops a lot of attitude issues, can develop if you're not careful about how you are upbringing that all the three kids. The second thing that I want you to think about is rivalry. When there are multiple children in the house, it is very, very important for parents to be careful about how you label your children, about not showing favoritism as a parent. See, when you label the firstborn, for example, let me give you an example here just so that you understand. Your firstborn does something well, and you pat him on the back and say, oh my gosh, that is so responsible of you. You make me proud. By using the word a positive adjective to a characteristic, what did you do? You said you are so responsible. It means you have made the first child responsible. You did not say your behavior was responsible. You did not say how you reacted was responsible. You spoke about the child being responsible. When you say things like that, the firstborn or whichever child you're talking to develops a fixed mindset, because then the child feels, oh, I'm supposed to be responsible. So tomorrow, when the child wants to be a child and wants to not be responsible, the child has self worth issues. You are pushing your child in a corner where the child can develop an imposter syndrome. Because you see, the child is supposed to be responsible because the parent always said that the child is responsible. You are not doing your children a service by giving them unnecessary praise in this manner. Praise them, but praise the action, praise the behavior. Do not praise the attitude. For instance, you liked how the child responded to something. Say that, I loved your response to this situation. That was very responsible of you. When you use language that is appropriate, you are building and encouraging your child to think in a manner that is beneficial to the child. Second, we spoke about rivalry. When you show favoritism amongst your children, or you do a lot of labeling between your kids, indirectly you are also encouraging rivalry between the siblings. And that can be very dangerous because that rivalry, the seed of that rivalry, is sown during childhood. And tomorrow, maybe when the child gets married and they have a spouse that perhaps is not very encouraging, it is very easy to sway this child to become against the siblings because of the seed that was sown when they were younger. Having multiple children is a responsibility, not just in terms of finances and raising them, but it is your job to make sure that each child of yours has equal self worth. Each child of yours is self confident and can take the right decisions. And when your middle child right now, Chaya, this is what is my advice to you in a nutshell. If your child is acting out, if you know that your child is becoming distant and that's worrying you, think of it like a sign. Your child is asking for your attention. Your child is telling you that, Mom, something is wrong. Please come and talk to me. It is your child who is perhaps asking you to love them and give them a hug because the child is feeling left out. Maybe you're cuddling the younger one more than you're cuddling the middle child. And that middle child is expected to be okay with that kind of behavior. You say, it's all right. The younger one is the youngest, so we're supposed to love the younger one more. We're supposed to pamper the younger one more. It is somewhere unfair when, as parents, we ask or put these kind of expectations on our children. We forget that they are also children and they need equal amount of love, nourishment, attention from us. So, for now, I want you to check yourself, Chaya. Do what you and your check what you and your husband are doing. See if you are playing favoritism amongst your three kids indirectly. I know as parents we don't want to do that. See if indirectly you are labeling any of your children, and definitely find and allocate a schedule where you are able to spend one on one time with each child. The moment you spend that time with each child, they develop reassurance and a sense of confidence that they can come to you and that you are approachable to them. Once you become approachable to them, their sense of maturity and their sense of security becomes cemented. That, I think, is the most important job as parents that we should do. I hope that answers your question. If you have details that you would like to talk to me about, then go ahead and reach me on WhatsApp and we can discuss it. The second question that I have is this. The question is, I am in love with a girl who is also my best friend, but she loves someone else. I have caused issues for them as a best friend, so now she wants to break my friendship. I cannot allow her to do that. My heart wants her. I am being forced to listen to my heart. Am I doing something wrong? Um, Thank you so much for writing in. And yes, I understand you need to be anonymous, so I will not take your name on it. And yes, you can catch me on FB Live. In fact, I am live right now. So once again, thank you for writing in. What you just told me, dear friend, is it has multiple layers to it. And I want you to think about what you just said. It seems to me that you are somehow obsessed with this friend of yours because you are telling me that you love her, you were her friend, but she really loves someone else, but you are unwilling to let go because her thoughts keep disturbing you and keep coming back to you. And you're also blaming your heart. You are telling me that my heart does not allow me to leave her. I am being forced to listen to my heart. So what do I do? So, my short answer to your question is, again, I don't know the details. I would urge you to go and get a formal diagnosis done. But just based on what you have told me, two things, right? First, it makes me realize that you are obsessed with her thought. You are obsessed with the thought of having her. It is not necessarily her. Uh, in person. It is just the thought of having her around you. Second, you are afraid that you might do something that would damage her or you. And that is the reason that you have written to ask me. So if you are telling me, no, I am not afraid, that is not what I want, think again, my friend. If you are very comfortable with what you're feeling, if you are comfortable by damaging her relationship with her fiance or her boyfriend, you would not have written to me. The fact that you have written to me tells me that you realize that there is something about the thought that is disturbing you, and yet you are feeling compelled to do it. Two things: obsession, compulsion. What does that add? These are classic signs of OCD, an obsessive compulsive disorder. You are obsessed with this one person, and it is not a good obsession. You are the See, you're obviously feeling good when you're thinking about her, and that is encouraging you to think about her more and more and more. And this obsession is further leading to a compulsion where you are being compelled to do something to maybe create a distance between her and her boyfriend so that she becomes yours. So you are not doing it out of love. You are doing it out of a compulsion to hold on to her. You're doing this out of a compulsion because she seems like a trophy that you need to have. If that is what you are, so you know yourself best. And if you think what you have is a OCD, then we need to break the cycle of both obsession and compulsion. How do we break the cycle? Two things. You need to use medication because obsession is something that needs medication, and you need to see a psychotherapist. I would recommend that first you go see a psychotherapist and go for therapies like CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. We need to alter your behaviors in a way that we are able to build you up, and in a manner that we decouple you from your obsession about her. We figure out that what about her makes her desirable, what about her is is the thing that you're after, what about her is what that you are obsessed about. Once you understand your obsession, my friend, is when we will be able to treat it. So a psychotherapist is important. So the first thing I want you to do is take an appointment with a psychotherapist, build a rapport, understand the issue a little bit, start working on your emotions, and then go see a psychiatrist. Why am I asking you to do that in that order? Because once medicines go in, once you use your SSRIs, once you use your antidepressants and it starts kicking in, you will falsely believe that you don't need therapy because the medicines will start making you feel better. It is a false uh, reassurance, because someone with your symptoms where you're saying that, oh, I need to follow my heart, I can't break myself, my heart wants her, I need to think about her, uh, you need help, right? And this is how I would want you to do it. So please go ahead and find an appropriate psychotherapist, go find an appropriate psychiatrist, make sure that they work in tandem, and get out of this spiral. Because if you are stuck in this spiral, it is not going to do you good, it's not going to benefit you. And it is time that you find strength in yourself and build yourself up. The third question I have is from a woman who is working, she says, "Do not mention my name," so I won't. She says, "I love a boy and I know he's wrong for me. We are very different from each other. My heart aches for him. So even though I have tried, I cannot let go." The funny thing is, in these questions, the community or the people, we blame our heart. But it's really not the heart that loves. Do you know that? Love, love, the feeling of desire, the feeling of want, everything is actually born in the mind. It is the thought. But yet, the industry, the media, everything makes us believe that it is the heart that pains, that emotions begin from the heart. But coming back to your question, uh, what you're struggling from, okay, and let me quickly summarize this. It seems to me that you are struggling from some kind of a ruminating thought, which means that you have these thoughts of uh, these thoughts that you love this person, right? And the thought that, hey, I love this boy and I can't let go of him. I know he's wrong for me, but I'm unable to let go. I need him. I require him. When the dialogue in your head is that is called a ruminating thought, right? Because it is a collection of thoughts or a single thought that is again and again and again uh, replaying in your head. Now, typically, a ruminating thought is something that is sad or dark. In your case, it is not sad or dark. You have a thought, it's just a desire for this one person. You are obviously indulging in it because it is making you feel good. Let's face that, right? You're not really helpless when you're thinking about this boy in your life. It is releasing hormones. And when those juices and peptides are being released by your endocrine system, you are feeling a sense of high. And that sense of high gives you pleasure. It's giving you a sense of well being. It is adding to your self esteem. And obviously, when your self-esteem, your self-worth, you are feeling loved, when it's doing all these positive things, why would you want to change that behavior? So I understand why you're confused. I understand why you have written to me, and when you tell me my heart aches for him, and even though I have tried, I cannot let go. I get that very much. These are the strategies that I would recommend you do to get over your cognitions. So, what you're struggling with is cognitions, right? That thoughts that repeat, replay in your head. Strategy number one, distraction. Make yourself busy. The more busier you are, the more distraction there is in your life, uh, you will break that thought process in your head. And the idea is to break the thought process in your head. Now, let me clear one thing, right? That if you told me that you feel that the boy is right for you and that you like him, my advice to you would have been different. The only reason I am giving you this advice is because it is you, the client, who has told me that I know he is wrong for me. I know he's very different. We are very different from each other, and I want to let go. So, hence, my advice to you are the strategies that you need to let go of that person. Now, coming back, the first strategy was distract yourself. Second strategy is write down on a piece of paper why you think he is not right for you. Just quickly make points, right? And once you are in that thought, once you find yourself in that spiral where you're thinking about him, where your heart is aching for him, where there is a pain in your mind, I want you to bring up that sheet of paper and read it. The moment you read that paper, it will break that cycle in your mind. So you're breaking your cognitions. That is the second way to help you become stronger. Third, I want you to make a detailed plan, and I mean detailed with specifics, okay? Make a detailed plan on how you would want to stop yourself from acting impulsively when you are consumed by emotions. See, when you are in that cycle of ruminating thoughts, very often we become impulsive. That is when we are the weakest. We want to break our relationships. We don't want to listen to anyone. We are just charged with hormones that we are willing to fight or die for it. Most of the decisions that when taken impulsively are not necessarily the right decisions. So my third strategy to you is write down a detailed plan of the steps that you can take, your deterrents in place to avoid you or prevent you from acting impulsively. And once again, when, why, and where this would come handy, when you are in that state of mind and you feel that you want to call him or you want to do something with him and you know he's the wrong person for you, bring up that sheet of paper and read. It will help you understand and figure out where you need to control yourself. Fourth, question your thoughts. If you are telling me that you use the word I love a boy, but you're also telling me I know he's wrong for me. And you're telling me I've tried to let go of him. If there are so many contradictory emotions with that one person, don't you think you need to question yourself? Why? Why do you love him? What is the reason that you want him? He is obviously fulfilling some part of you. He is fulfilling some hollowness in you, some kind of a depth in you. So you have to understand yourself. Understand that loving him is making you positive in a way. How is it making you positive? Loving him is making you feel reassured and stronger in a way. Why is it making you feel stronger? The need to love him is strong. So do a self dive, build self awareness. There are a lot of tools to do that. Obviously, counseling, life coaching are other options that can help you figure out what you need to do and really what's going on with you. But once you identify yourself and why you're doing what you're doing, it'll help you it'll help you understand why you're still running after that boy. Then I want you to identify your life goals. Now we are building the tempo up. Identify your life goals and then ask yourself that loving this person, being with this person, will will loving this person still align yourself with your life goal? Is uh, thinking about this person in line with your life goals? Is it in line with his life goals? If his life goals are different than your life goals and both of you are going in converging paths, then you know this relationship is not the right relationship because your paths can never meet. And it is important that you think about it practically and think about it in a way that does not hurt you or harm you in future. And last and not the least, I want you to build your self esteem. Buddy up with someone, make connections. When you have friends, talk to people, make a positive group about in your core. Once you have those connections set up, they will prevent you from doing a decision or taking a decision that is wrong, number one. Second, they will build your self esteem. You will feel loved, you will feel protected, and maybe the reason why you're going after that boy that reason will be fulfilled by maybe your girlfriends. So I want you to think about it and think hard. There is a lot in this. So I want you to just calmly think about it and come up with a plan that works for you. Because only when you are planned, that's when cognitions can be altered. That is the heart of CBT. And if you need help doing this, my friend, again, feel free to reach out to me. You can go to my Facebook, find me on WhatsApp, and we can do this personally where we help you come out of this kind of behavior. Uh, I want to go on a tangent here, right? See, love arises from a need of being fulfilled. There is no doubt about it. Okay. Love is that need to be fulfilled. Love is when you want to get attention, respect, when your desires want to be fulfilled. But love in a long term relationship works when there is mutual respect, when there is mutual honesty, and there is desire. No two people can have an equal amount of can feel the same, right? In a relationship, any husband wife relationship, partners, whatever, there will always be one person who is the leader where emotions are concerned, and the second person who is the follower, and that is very natural. But love is recognizing and accepting that there is a difference in emotions, but when the emotions are true from both the sides, when the emotions are honest from both the sides, and when you are loving without expecting anything in return, that is when that love is true. Love is about respect. It is not about ownership. Love is about giving. It's not about taking. Love is not, love is finding time and making time. It is not talking to someone when you have the time. Because when you're doing the latter, that is not love. That is not a relationship. That is a trade. You are doing something because it is benefiting you. And unfortunately, you're calling that love, right? Because it is benefiting you. When you find the time, you talk. When you need someone, you go to that person. As long as there is benefit to your life and your relationship, you want to be with that person. I want you to think about this, especially youngsters, those people starting out, newlyweds, even middle-aged folks who run into the middle-age syndrome. Understand love and accept it in the most beautiful way. It is one of the strongest emotions. Love heals. If you find true love in your life, it can heal the deepest and deepest of scars and wounds. That is the power of love, but a love which is pure and based on mutual respect. The fourth question that I have is, I have trouble sleeping. I have tried medication, but when I try to sleep at night, my mind is unable to switch off. Okay, a lot of us experience that, and we experience that in many different ways, right? When we are obsessed with a goal, when we're obsessed with a thought, when we're obsessed with a person, or when there is something that is wrong in our lives, we are unable to let go. And when we are unable to let go, obviously those thoughts are going to replay in our mind, and the more they replay, uh, the more they race, the more they run in thousand different directions. And when they're running in thousand different directions, you lose your ability to catch them. You lose your ability to arrest your thoughts. It is very difficult for you to focus. It is very difficult for you to even be fair to your own relationships, because you are so consumed with that issue that is in your life, that all your mind is doing is just racing through those thoughts. And the more you keep thinking about it, the bigger the problem becomes. And the bigger the problem becomes, the smaller you become, the more you start thinking about it. So it becomes a hole, it becomes a downward spiral. So these racing thoughts consume you, and it beats your confidence, your emotion, your reassurance, everything out of you. And you lose sight of yourself, you lose sight of your relationships. uh, it is something that needs, definitely needs attention. So thank you very much for writing in. So the question is, how can you do? You have tried medications and it has not helped. The first thing I want you to do, friend, is figure out, truly recognize and accept what the issue is. The problem is sometimes is that something disturbs us, right? Maybe it is a relationship, maybe it is anxiety at work, maybe it is politics, maybe it is bureaucracy, maybe it is a child, maybe it is in-law issues. I don't know who you are because you've not given me information, but there is an issue that is close to your heart that is troubling you. You have to get to the bottom of it and understand what that issue is. Once you understand that issue, then you will be able to accept it and then work on solutions where you're able to sort that issue. Go talk to people. Having friends, talking to someone is the best thing that you can do. The worst thing people do when they are hit by problems, that they let that mountain of problems hit them. And when they end up carrying that huge mountain, they become so small. The issue is that you need not carry that mountain. You need not be Hercules. Please go find a friend, talk to them, and figure out what your trigger is. Second, breathing, meditation. There is no cure like breathing and meditation. Once you talk to your friend and get it out of your chest, you will feel lighter because you would have just accepted that issue. Second, breathing, where you're working on yourself. Third, affirmations. I want you to tell yourself that you are strong. You can get through that situation. You have the bandwidth, the strength to get through whatever that problem is. The problem is when you feel scared, when there is fear, when you feel that life is, you are losing control of your life, that's when you're unable to switch off your mind. When you feel that you don't have control over things, is when you feel that you are completely uh, bombarded by these emotions. So once you accept your emotions, talk to someone, do some meditation, do some affirmations, and most important, eliminate the stress in your life. And if you need to build this into your system, I would want or recommend you to do some kind of therapy. Therapy is about building you up. It is not a negative thing. You do not have to view therapy in a manner that it tears you down. Therapy is about having those kind of rituals and habits, forming that kind of rituals and habits that strengthens us and enables us to tackle with any situation. That is what therapy is about. So, in a nutshell, uh, I want you to do what we have discussed, find out what your problem is, address it. There is an alternate side to your solution, which is that maybe you are excited about someone. I spoke about a situation where you were troubled with something, but that trouble can also be that you actually, in your case, have ruminating thoughts instead of racing thoughts. What that means is you are obsessing over something that is giving you pleasure, that is driving up your desire, and it is making you feel good. And if that is what is happening, and you think that it is wrong, that you are obsessing over something that is not right, and you are being compelled to think about those thoughts and just go with the flow, then again, the strategies that I spoke about will help you. So, whatever your situation be, whether it is left sided or right sided, what I spoke about will help. And if it does not help, I think you should definitely go see a psychotherapist to work this out. My fifth question is, I have a husband who loves me very much, and I have a friend who also loves me very much. I know it is wrong for me to indulge, but I do not have the heart to walk away from my friend. We've been together for many years and we care deeply about each other. I am not romantically involved. I would not like to change anything, but I need your thoughts. From Anonymous. Dear Anonymous, thank you so much for writing in. Uh, See, it is very, very common for best friends to love each other. Love can be two ways, right? One is a romantic love where you feel romance and there are a lot of hormones that kick in. And there is a second kind of love which is very pure, which is driven by friendship, which is driven by mutual care and respect. And it seems to me that you have this relationship with that best friend where you have been together for so many years and you deeply care for each other. I think that is fantastic. If you have a friend where you deeply care for each other, there is mutual respect and there is mutual love, uh, then there is no reason for you to walk away. There is no reason for you to feel guilty about it. Is my is my thinking at this point of time. But where I am worried, and let me tell you that, is that even though you have told me that you are not romantically involved with your friend, the fact is that you have written to me. You are writing and you're asking me that I don't want to change anything, and you're asking for, in a way, my blessings. Uh, you have to be completely responsible and liable for your decisions. What that means is if you decide for whatever reason, right, it seems to me that you are having some thoughts of taking your relationship with your friend further. I may be wrong here. I am assuming because I have not spoken to you, but based on the language, what you have written, and based on what you are describing to me, you are in a way asking for my permission to move ahead. I cannot give you permission to do what you don't want to do. I am no one in your life. The only permission that you need in your life is yours. If you are having thoughts to somehow or feelings for your best friend that is causing some amount of disturbance in your life, then that's your decision. It is not mine. It is your decision whether where you want to take that relationship, what you want to do with your husband. If you believe that both the relationships are pure, I really cannot answer that, and I have no right to answer that. But based on what you've asked me, if it is just friendship and you love that person and that person loves you, sure, there's no harm in it, and you have a husband who loves you very much, then really there is no reason for you to really should be shopping around, right? But the question is, do you love your husband? Do you love your husband? If you feel that you are falling short of love for your husband, which is what is attracting you to your best friend, and that is the reason that you have written to me, and that is the hidden message or the hidden thought that you're asking me about, uh, you and me need to have a talk. I cannot answer that at all, right? We need to understand where you are in your life, what you need in your life, what is important to you, and what you need from your relationships. So go ahead, shoot me a WhatsApp. Let's connect. Let's talk. Let's try and figure this out. Uh, and I'm sure we can find a solution that will work well for you. My last question is from a teenager. Very, very sweet of her to write, and I found it very cute actually. She's actually written her name. Her name is Trisha. She says, one reads in books and sees in movies about the magic of the first kiss. From the time I was little, the Disney pictures, the Disney princess movies also spoke about that. I just had mine, and it was anything but special. Where is the magic that all this literature talks about? Is something wrong with me? Oh, and by the way, I am 16. From Trisha. Trisha, that is the most cutest and sweetest message that I could have got. Thank you so much. You know, there is so much of innocence in your message that I almost want to hug you. Uh, I mean, thank you for writing in. So, Trisha, you are a child, right? You are just 16. You have an entire life ahead of you. Your adult life is yet to begin. You will have many, many experiences of and opportunities of experiencing all those things that the movies and literature and stories and books talk about. Coming to your question about the first kiss, the any act, right, whether it is the first kiss or the first time you do anything, what makes it special, sweetie, is the fact that you need to be connected with that person. It is your emotion in your heart and in your mind. If you are connected with that person, then forget the first kiss. Even when you just touch, there is magic. And exactly that kind of magic that the movies talk about, exactly that kind of magic that Karan Johar films talk about, that your romantic novels talk about. But the premise is that you need to wait for that right person. Don't be in a hurry to experiment, because when you're experimenting, it is only your physiology and your anatomy that is going ahead. Like you just said, right? You did it, but there was no emotion in it. And when there is no emotion, it is an action that is just lost. It is an action that uh, perhaps could have been better not done. You want your first kiss to be special. You want your first touch to be special. It is what perhaps every human fantasizes about. But for that to happen, wait for destiny to take its course, is my suggestion. Wait for your heart to get involved. And I don't mean your mind. I understand in today's age, there is a lot of pressure from your peer group about experimentation. There's a lot of pressure to do things faster. There is comparisons happening. There is conversation happening in schools and colleges and in your friend circles. And you are compelled sometimes to take a decision and experiment even though you're not ready. I don't want you to do that. Please wait. When you are ready, you will know it. And I don't want you to listen to anyone. Don't even listen to me. Listen to your heart. Listen to your mind. When you find a boy that you want to spend time with, when you find a boy who makes you laugh, when you find a boy who makes you happy, when you find a boy, and this is most important, who respects you, loves you, and wants to spend time with you as much as you want to spend time with them. It is very, very important that there is this feeling needs to be mutual, that he reciprocates that emotion. When you truly and you really find that boy, Trisha, uh, all of this is going to happen, and it's going to be the most beautiful feeling in the world. I hope I have answered that question. I don't know if I should get into it anymore. I think also that maybe you should, if you can, have a conversation with your parent or some elderly person at home. If you can talk to them or if you trust them, they would be your best guide. They would guide you and uh, protect you from anything wrong that is happening. If you're unable to do that, don't worry, I am not pushing you away. I am always there. If you need help, if you need guidance, even as you're growing older, when you start experimenting or you feel there is no one to talk to, or even, God forbid, if something goes wrong that you do not want, I am here. Go ahead, reach out to me and talk to me. But for now, in a nutshell, my advice to you, sweetie, would be wait and just wait. Have patience. Focus on having fun, focus on friends, focus on developing yourself, focus on your knowledge, focus on building yourself, focus on maturity, because everything else will just follow. And when that follows, uh, you will know. I hope that you are satisfied with this answer. If not, you can reach out to me and we'll just have a one on one conversation on the phone. With that, I come to an end of my session. We've had a good 6 questions where we spoke about a lot of things. To summarize, I want you to think about all the things that we spoke about. First, the middle child syndrome. Be very, very careful when you have multiple children at home. Abstain from favoritism. Abstain from labeling your children. Do not encourage rivalry between them. And when your child is acting out, when your child is pushing you away, it does not necessarily mean that the child wants you to go away. It means that the child needs attention. When the child is crying, when the child is upset, it is their way of asking for help. Please go ahead and help them. The second question that I had was about uh, being obsessed with someone and causing problems between the boyfriend and the girlfriend. The diagnosis was an OCD. If this is someone like you, if you feel you are struggling or are troubled with OCD symptoms, I recommend you to go see a psychologist and a psychotherapist so that you're able to get on medications and alter your behaviors as soon as possible. The third question I had was about letting go, where we spoke about again CBT strategies, where you are able to let go of a person in a way that works for you. My fourth question was about trouble sleeping. There again, we spoke both about ruminating thoughts as well as racing thoughts. You know what to do. We spoke about breathing, mantra, meditation, and therapy. So see what you can find for yourself and find a solution that works. My fifth question was uh, about having having a best friend that you really love while still being in love with your husband. If it is just love, platonic love that we're talking about, I think that's quite all right. It is okay to love your friends because that is what friendship is. Their friendship is all about love. And some of the purest love can really happen and thrive amongst friendships. As long as it is not romantic, I think you're fine to go ahead and doing that. If, however, you want to alter the definition of your marriage or your friendship, that decision is completely yours and not mine to take. The last question I had about was about the magic of first kiss. Like we said, that emotion is very important in any act, whether whatever, even for adults, right? Sometimes you just do. You are intimate with your partner, but you don't enjoy it as much. The reason is emotion. When your act, doesn't matter what it is devoid of emotions, the magic will not happen. So, as long as there is emotion attached, you will experience that magic again and again and again as long as you're alive. And that I can assure you. With that, we come to an end. Thank you very much for watching. If this video has benefited you or you feel that there is someone that could benefit from this video, do go ahead and share it, like, subscribe, and share. You have all the information that you need below in the information box. See you next time, next Thursday, 7 p.m. Until then, sayonara. Good night, folks. Bye bye.